Thank you, Minnie. Bye-bye.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
This is Vishal. We'll start at 2 minutes past 11. Just noting that there's still quite a few people, attempting to attend the meeting. So bear with us. 2 minutes past 11. Thank you. Okay, good morning, everyone. I think we'll start the session, and those that join will catch up as we proceed. So firstly, a warm welcome to everyone that's joined the session today. I think it's a long-awaited topic. Let's talk IR. Very, very, very hot topic, I guess, for every single retailer that is out there. So very interesting discussion. Looking forward to it. Please do participate in the discussion. I'll explain to you very quickly in terms of the look and feel and how we will go about doing this. For starters, Henry, the chairperson, will open the meeting. He'll introduce himself and introduce the discussions, and then followed by a presentation by the newly appointed labor manager at the RMI. That's Brezhnev Nchakang, more commonly known as Tumi, for ease of reference. And then during the presentation, please pay attention. During the presentation, try not to ask any questions. If you have a burning question that you want to ask, put it into the chat box. There will be an opportunity at the end of the presentation, once Tumi is done, for you to raise your hand and ask physical questions. That's in addition to the questions that are in the chat box. From a process point of view, I will tell you that all questions will be answered one way or the other. If we are not able to complete it during the presentation or during this session, we'll definitely get back to you individually on email with answers. So do use the chat box if you're uncomfortable to ask a physical question. It is a very useful tool for you to use. Beyond that, I would like to also note that in addition to Tumi, we have Jeffrey Molefe, who is the Labor Director, also in attendance in this meeting, which is quite useful should there be, any complex questions that need to be answered or considered. It is also important to note that we have Henry van der Merwe, who also sits as part of our labor team and labor negotiation team on board as well. So you've got quite a strong team behind, should you have any awkward questions you wish to ask. Just remember, questions at the end. And then without much further ado, I'm going to hand straight over to Henry to officially open the meeting. Henry, over to you.
Good morning. Thanks, Michelle. Good morning to all the retailers, the SAPRA members and the non-members. I hope you find this fruitful. We've got Tumi here, as you know, he's now the new, we've got Jeffrey, which is a labor director, and Tumi, which is a labor manager. I'm going to hand over to them to do the presentation, and hopefully you find it fruitful. And again, as he said, let's ask the questions. Whatever you want to know, we will assist. I am on the Labour Executive Committee. It's volatile times for us as retailers. You might have seen me on television lately with the pricing and what's going on. But yes, we are representing you wherever we can. So thanks a lot. Over to you, Timmy.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone, and I trust that everyone is well this morning. So we are here today, and again, I just want to thank everyone for joining us. As alluded to, my name is Dumin Sekang. I'm the labor manager at the RMI, recently joined, and I'll be presenting now on behalf of the RMI and SAPRA, and we'll be discussing, as alluded, a critical topic for every filling station and for every owner and operator, which is industrial relations, IR. We know there are staff challenges that can arise at any filling station, and being prepared makes all the difference. So to dive in, let's first start with the agenda for the day. So we've got an agenda for today, and we'll be covering the unique challenges in the petrol stations, the legal framework, including MIPCO, and how the RMI supports you in every step of the way. So that will be important to note the services that RMI provides in this regard. And then when we talk about IR challenges at filling stations, we know that you operate 24/7. And with that, there's always unique pressures, there's high turnover, there's safety critical roles, and tight margins that often lead to IR issues. And it's important that understanding these challenges is the first step towards proactive management. At this stage, you are dealing with shift work, safety risks in terms of fuel handling. As I mentioned, the margins as well with the wage pressures. You've got the unions as well that you have to engage with. And in the industry, we have NUMSA and we have MISA, who are predominantly in the sector that we are dealing with today. And obviously, the most important thing, we have disciplinary issues. There's grievances that you deal with on a daily basis. And as well, due to economic pressures, you find yourself restructuring and now having to deal with retrenchment. So while dealing with all these pressures, there's foundation laws that you need to comply with. And it's important that every operator is aware of the Labor Relations Act, the Basic Conditions of Employment Act, which sets the baseline. This is for unfair dismissals, for disciplines, for hours, leave, overtime. And you've got also the Employment Equity Act, which deals with fairness, treatment and diversity, and you've got the National Minimum Wage Act. And obviously another critical for fuel stations, it's the Occupational Health and Safety Act. And of course, you've got the MIPCO collective agreements, which are legally binding. So in this case, MIPCO provides sector-specific rules for the motor industry and fuel industry. And non-compliance can be an issue because it then leads to costly disputes at either the CCMA or the DRC, depending on what the issues are. And you don't have to deal with this on your own. We don't expect every employer to be labor experts or legal experts. The RMI does have IR experts. It's a team that's prepared to support you. From free advice to full representation, we help filling station owners handle workplace issues with confidence and clarity. So just the background, as the RMI, we are an employer's representative on the MIPCO structures. We provide members with, amongst other things, industrial relations services. And SAPRA is a proud member association of the RMI, which also comes with benefits in terms of the services our labor department offers. So our Expect IR team provides comprehensive support to members and through the following services. They chair disciplinary hearings, they chair grievance hearings, they represent RMI members at the DRC, CCMA, Labor Court. And through all these economic pressures that we are facing, like I said, you don't have to be an expert. Our IR team is there to facilitate your retrenchment processes, and any other consulting meetings. And we also deliver tailored IR training seminars. We also have an IR kit. This IR kit has all the information you'd need in order to guide your employees, your staff, your staff management as well, to prepare for anything that may happen. We have templates as well that you may use should anything arise. Maybe you want to issue a warning or you want to subject one to a performance inquiry. There's all those templates in the IR kit. And we also prepare and draft various legal documents such as variations, rescissions, condonations applications, exemptions, should you find any challenges in complying with what the Motor Industry Bargaining Council regulates, and review applications as well. So establishing and maintaining sound IR practices for all SAPRA members, it's very critical. And as the IR expert team at the RMI, we are here to assist with also free labor advice. So professional IR support is very affordable through the RMI. That I can say with confidence. Many services are free and members' rates are significantly low should you compare this to private consultants or attorneys out there who would like to offer such services. We are extremely low. And this makes expert help accessible for either whether you are small or large filling stations alike. You will receive very low, affordable services from our team. So we offer telephonic and written guidance at no charge. Like I've mentioned earlier, we chair all internal hearings, including disciplinary hearings, grievances, incapacities, Section 189, which is your retrenchment consultation, at a nominal fee of only 350 Rand per hour or part thereof. And as a SAPRA member already, should you find yourself with reviews and unfair labor practices or unfair dismissal disputes, then you are now in a position where RMI, our expert team, will represent you at MIPCO, at CCMA, and the Labor Court. And this will include all litigation drafting, servicing and filing of applications and opposing papers. This is for free for all accredited members, as you are SAPRA members. And other basic members, they are charged a nominal fee of 350 per hour. And there's also a cost in terms of travel. Our IR experts, they are all over the provinces. And we do have here in Gauteng, we have 2 in Gauteng. And then KZN, we've got 1 IR specialist, and then the Eastern Cape and the Western Cape, and also in Bloemfontein, the Northern Cape, we've got 1. So there's a travel fee of 120 Rand per 120 kilometers. So, and we also do seminars and webinars as well, and at a reduced fee of about 575 Rand per delegate and 285 per person for more than 1 delegate from a particular member. And non-members are charged at 1,150 per delegate. So joining the RMI actually gives you more than just IR support. You become part of a powerful industry body that protects your interest and helps your business thrive. And early engagement with our expert team consistently leads to better outcomes, fewer disputes, minimal business disruptions. Like I've alluded, you are not expected to be labor experts. We are here to assist you all the way with any IR labor issue. So the benefit that you will receive is the expert IR advised, tailored also to petrol retail, representation at wage negotiations, and you'll have access to compliance tools and training and strong industry voice with SAPRA collaboration, of course. And you'll have a peace of mind in terms of risk mitigation that will be drastically reduced, knowing that our IR specialist is just a telephone away. So part of our support, and we are also part of a supportive business network in that regard to ensure that as you run your business smoothly, you don't have to worry about all the labor issues and pressures that comes with it. So to conclude, preparation is key. the laws and understanding the MIPCO benefits and what you benefit from the RMI as well, it's important to always reach out. And this approach protects your business, it protects your employees and your bottom line as well, knowing that you are safely secured in ensuring that everything that you are doing complies with the South African law. Thank you. You are muted, Vishal.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. To me, that was very short and concise. I have no doubt that you will be inundated with questions. Remember, the topic is very broad, and this was a very high-level presentation, right? So feel free to engage. Like I said, you do have a very, very adequate team, well-equipped team, including Jeff Molefe and of course Henry van der Merwe that are here. So do engage. I haven't seen any chats coming through, but please, you are welcome to raise your hand and ask any questions. Henry, perhaps you want to lead the discussion?
Thanks, Michelle. Yes, I can just add, everything is quiet now on the front because we've got centralized bargaining, which is now done for the next 3 years. Well, we in the second year, entering the second year, but that's where we represent you on a bargaining council level. And as you know, we did it last year. There was a lot of questions asked. I think it was one of the most attended Let's Talk meetings was about the medical insurance, which is still problematic at some stages. But if there's any questions, please ask the questions now. Michelle, I can't see the chat box, so if you can just manage the chat box.
No, for sure, I am. There's nothing in the chat box just yet. And you're welcome to raise your hand. Like I said, you can raise your hand to come through with any questions that you have in terms of IR and labor issues that you may have. This is your opportunity. Perhaps just to maybe elaborate a little bit further on, what Tumi did mention. The IR specialists that we do employ at the RMI are firstly qualified legal specialists, so they are lawyers. But the advantage that they have is they work in our environment. So they work in the automotive and petroleum sectors only, right? So that's where their focal area is. And as a result, they're very contextually connected, to situations that would play out in our industry. So be mindful of that. We have a really good team of well-connected individuals that are equipped firsthand, with the relevant information for you. I still don't see any questions. Kwezi, I did recognize that your hand was up. You want to come through the question?
Sorry, Vish, there's just one question in the chat so far. It's from McLeod. He's just asking how can we get the IR kit? He's from Tech Group.
Okay, fantastic. And that's a great question. The IR kit will be shared. Mariki, you want to come through and just explain that procedure?
Yeah, I've already emailed the team. He's one of our REC members of SAPRA. So I did email the IR kit to him.
Super. And then a question from Mr. Paul Rue. I'll start with Kutle's, start with Lusikisiki, Sasso. What is required to be a member? I'm not sure if maybe Mariki, you want to take that offline, or if this is the platform you want to answer that on.
Yeah, I can quickly answer that. You need to be MIPCO registered, obviously. That is one of the main things that we are looking at. And then if you want to be a member, you can contact us at the office and I will take you through the process. It is really not a very long process to become a member. It is quite quick and easy and not that expensive. Thank you.
Super. And then we have a question from Gutle Nkosi, who's asking, morning, will prices change based on rural and urban? I'm assuming that's locations of sites.
Okay, maybe Tumi, you want to respond to that question? I think is, will the quote change?
In terms of the IR services fees?
I would be assuming so, yes.
It's across the board. Jeff, if you may as well jump in on that.
Yes, Timmy, that is 100% correct. It is across the board, and prices will not change based on your location. It will remain the same. Thank you.
Super. And then there's another question from Mr. Paul Rue. Can we discuss the issue with regards to immigrants working for us? Sure, who wants to handle that one?
Over to you, Tumi.
Maybe I can just, maybe I must just on this point before you answer. I'm not sure if everybody's getting the attention of the Labour Department lately. Both my sites have been visited. Polokwane has been visited. A lot of guys have been visited. And one of the questions is, how many immigrants do we have? Obviously, they need to be legal. But please, I'm not sure if everybody else is having the same experience, that the Labour Department is now visiting all filling stations, which, you know, I've been in the game for a long time and I haven't had visits from them. But now lately, it's very prevalent. And before you, and please answer the questions then after that. Thanks.
Tumi or Jeff, you want to come through?
Okay. In this regard, remember the first thing that employers need to do is ensure that everyone has legal documents to be even in the premises and offering any services or work. So the question would be, the immigrants, are they legal or are they illegal? You need to protect yourself as an employer in just employing anyone without any legal documents, because if the Labor Department does a visit, then you find yourself in hot water. I'm not sure about the penalties associated with that as well. But it's important to ensure that everyone has a permit, everyone is legal to work in the country and at your filling stations.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Tumi. If you feel that you would like to, further address Tumi on that point, do raise your hand and, unmute yourself and come through. We don't want to labor the discussion until later. So if you feel that you haven't been answered adequately enough, do unmute yourself and come through. Henry, I recognize your hand.
Thank you, Michelle. And maybe just a question to me, and I think a lot of people are going to ask it. I've got very limited foreign workers, but when they joined, they were legal, 100% legal, because I protected myself. But now they have to visit to get their documents legal, to stay legal. They need to go to the department to sort it out. What happens if they don't get a document? Is that a fair ground then to dismiss them, or how do we deal with that? Because people have been working with me for 5 years, then suddenly it seems like the department's not issuing them new certificates. How do we do that? How do we deal with that?
So the basic thing, obviously, we should know is that as employers, we can hire foreign nationals, but only if they hold a valid work visa permit issued under the Immigrations Act. So the problem right now is, without those documents, it becomes a criminal offense to even employ such people who are not correctly documented. So I understand the part that, yes, there's an issue of the department, but some can be mitigated by being proactive in, they know when those permits are going to expire. They know when they need to revise or renew their permits timelessly. So it becomes an issue. The only problem is we want to mitigate the risk. Like I said, it's a criminal offense. You don't want to find yourself as an employer being in such a position. How do you deal with it? If you let them work there, there's consequences that as an employer you may find challenges. And if they're not legally entitled to be even there and work, then there's an issue of incapacity that may take play in this regard.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, Tumi. Paul Rue, I assume this is in relation to the same question. Please come through.
Yes, sorry, it's basically the same. Same question. So if I've got about 2 employees, they've got visas to be in the country. They have applied for the work permit for the work permits. I've got one lady that's been working for me for quite a long time, and she's been waiting and waiting. I don't know, it's months on end now for somebody to come back to her with paperwork. So I've got the proof, the little slips that they've brought me and said, listen, yeah, I've paid for the application, but I'm still waiting. What do I do? Do I call them in and say, listen, guys, you can't work for me anymore. Thank you very much for your services. Goodbye. Or what do we do?
Look, it's a fair question that you're asking, and very valid. It seems that most employers are facing such challenges, and we know we've got departments as well that they don't expedite issues as quick as possible in order for businesses to run smoothly. So in that regard, you've got documentation to show that there has been an application of some sort. And like I said, you'll have labor visits. I'm not sure if that has happened before, where at that particular moment or time when labor inspectors are there, you find yourself in such situations because they'll be able to guide as well as to what you need to do. Jeff, I'm going to ask you to chip in as well in terms of the pertinent, the important question as to, do we allow them to work, or do we lay them off, or do we terminate their services? If you may, Jeff, assist in that regard.
Not a problem to me. So what would happen, Paul, is that the Department of Labor would also issue a confirmation, a letter confirming that the employee has applied for their work visa, or confirmation that the application is still pending. So this will assist in case you have visits from the labor inspectors to note that that particular employee is awaiting their work visa. So in that regard, you can still proceed with the employee, and that employee can still continue working. But it's in a case where there is no proof, or there's no indication that an application has been made, number one, and the status of the application is not clear. Status meaning either it's in progress, awaiting outcome of the application, etc. So in that regard, if it's unclear, it becomes difficult for the labor inspector to really acknowledge that employee is legally in your employ. It will be important to engage in a case where there's no such a document from a labor department, to engage with the department to request for such a document or such a letter confirming that an application has been submitted. Thanks.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you for that, Jeff. Paul, if you feel you need to expand on that question, do come through. Just if you don't mind, to me, maybe just elaborate a little bit further as well on the free services, what is available to members in terms of free services, and just so that they have a clear understanding of what is available. Far too often we make decisions in business only to realize sometimes later that we've made those decisions in haste, etc., etc. Whereas there is, telephonic advice available. So maybe just touch on that to me, and then just from a process point of view, Kwezi, if you don't mind, continue to field the questions coming through from the box. We will, from a process again, acknowledge those that raise their hands first. And then secondary, we'll deal with the ones in the chat box. So yeah, Tumi, over to you first, and then over to Kwezi thereafter to field the questions. Tumi, just a bit more on the free services.
No, thank you so much for indulgence here. So we offer telephonic and written guidance. Could be an email discussion regarding a certain particular topic that is at no charge. And what is not free is disciplinary hearings. Remember, here you would have consultants or even attorneys. You want to use their services, and they'll be charging you over 900, 1,000, depending on who the attorney or the consultant is and what services they offer. At RMI, like I've alluded to, significantly low compared to what you'd be charged out there in the industry. So it's a nominal fee of 350 per hour and part thereof. What's more interesting here is that you as a SAPRA member, you receive free litigation representation. For instance, if we chat your hearing for 350 or 700 rand, depending on how long it took, then the matter is being referred for an unfair dismissal, and we probably win the case at the DRC or CCMA, depending on what type of a case it is, and the employee decides to challenge the matter at the labor court. You won't have to pay a cent as a SAPRA member. We will represent you free of charge at MIPCO, CCMA, and the labor court. And as I've mentioned before, it includes also litigation drafting, serving, and filing of documents, opposing any documents from the applicants. That is free of charge. If you are just a basic member, you're not a SAPRA member, then you will be charged a nominal fee of 354 for such representation. And another thing that is not free, obviously, seminars. Now and then there's needs. We identify needs in industries and sectors, and we offer seminars and webinars to that effect. So that as well is at a nominal fee of it's a reduced fee actually of 575 per delegate and 285 per person for more than one delegate. And if you are not a member, then that webinar or seminar will cost you about 1,150. I hope that covers Vishal.
Yes, thanks. That's actually a very comprehensive cover of the services that are available. But I do implore all retailers to take advantage of the opportunity. There's a lot of services that are available to you free of charge. Often we don't realize these things are available. You have regional representatives in each of the regions. There's labor specialists in each of the regions. So please do take up the opportunity that is available, start utilizing the service. And like I said, they are trained in your game, they're trained in your space. I'll move over to the next question. Kwezi, you want to relate some of the questions coming through from the chat box? Kwezi, you might be muted.
Oh, sorry, Vish. I'm just going to start with the last question we received because I think it ties into what we were discussing just now. It's a question from Paul, and he's asking just to check, or she, just to check here, should we even be appointing foreigners in the industry as the skills required are not considered scarce?
All right. So foreigners can be employed anywhere. The question is, are they legal or are they illegal? So anyone with a valid work visa or permit can work at any given time at any establishment. The recruitment process, remember, it's in your hands as an employer. You would put out there that there's job vacancies without discriminating, of course. And anyone who applies, they go through a recruitment process, and you choose who you want to employ. So for me, without even dictating whether to employ a foreign national or not, I wouldn't touch on that aspect. But all I can say is that whoever you employ, make sure that they are legally in a position to be employed. That's the most important thing.
Thanks, Tumi. I think I'll just quickly move on to the next one. This is from Lizelle Smith, and she asks, I think it's definitely IR related. Employee X works night shift and goes in and out of the kiosk that has a clocking turnstile. How did the other service station handle the kiosk stay in at night and sleeping on duty? I think maybe this is a general question to maybe anyone who has a site. How do they handle it?
It's a very, very interesting question. Henry, I'm not sure whether you would have some guidance on this one.
Vishal, no. It is interesting. We don't do that, so I'm not sure if there's anybody else that's doing and dealing with this that can maybe assist.
It could be a policy issue. Sorry to interject. It could be a policy issue because all filling stations obviously will work different in terms of how their operations should run. So it could be a policy issue as to what this particular company prefers in ensuring that there's the smooth running of the business and such. Maybe they can take it privately and share with me the details. That I believe my details were also shared with an email address there. Can maybe share the specifics to say this is what happened. Firstly, we need to identify, was there any misconduct committed? Sleeping on duty, that's the first thing I'm seeing there that obviously would need to be addressed through progressive discipline. So it could be a misconduct issue to say someone broke the rules. Like I said, the first question would be, what does the company policy say about the clocking in, clocking out, where they should be fixed during their shift at night, and such, and sleeping on duty? It should be contained in your disciplinary code, in your policies. So maybe send me a private message, send me an email, and give me details. And if there's any misconduct, we can assist in guiding.
All right, Dumi, she actually adds, I think she was listening. Lizelle just added that there is a policy in place and there is CCTV footage, I assume, showing the walking in and out of the kiosk as well as the sleeping on duty.
So I'm spot on.
Sure.
It's a misconduct issue. So in that regard, we have to follow due process in terms of what your company's disciplinary code says about sleeping on duty. And if there's on a balance of probabilities, substantively, it can be proven that the employee broke one of those rules and they were aware of the rule and the rule has been applied consistently at the filling station, then they should be found guilty. But we can discuss such also privately. You just have to act. Because if you don't, you're creating now a perception and that you're not being consistent, and it becomes a real issue.
Okay, fantastic. That's well informed there. Thank you, Tumi. That's really good feedback. I see Erica, you have raised a hand. You want to come through? I'm guessing it's on the same topic. Please do come through.
Yeah. If anybody on my side sleeps on duty, part of the charges is breaching security and safety. You are not aware of your surroundings when you sleep. If there's an armed robbery or anything and you jump up not knowing what's happening, you can be shot and killed. You don't know how the robbers react. So that's always a charge that I add to the breach of good practice, is the breach of safety and security.
Thank you, Erica. Very well noted. Thank you. Tumi, I don't know whether you have a comment on that one in particular before we move on to the next questions.
No, spot clear on that.
Yep, happy with that. Okay, Kwezi, over to you for the questions.
Super. We have one with regards to dealing with the unions. How do we deal with the issue of the union needing us to consult them first when we would like, as a business, to give a shop steward a warning letter?
Thank you for that. So remember, we are guided by laws. I've mentioned some foundation laws, the Labor Relations Act, the Basic Conditions of Employment Act, amongst other things. And these are the baseline that deals with discipline and procedures and such. So when you look at, we do have what we call a code of good practice when it comes to dismissal. It's one of the items in the Labor Relations Act. So it gives details and guidance as to how to deal with issues. And fortunately or unfortunately, it does permit, the law requires that if there is a recognized union and a shop steward that was elected, it does require you to consult with the union first before issuing that warning or even starting a disciplinary hearing for a shop steward. And this is to try and resolve the matter without any formal action. And it is permitted by law, fortunately. It wants to promote peace in terms of engaging, because you're expecting these shop stewards to be a leader there and to ensure that the members, the union members, or any other employee comply with laws and provisions. So if he is found wanting in such situations, the union is expected to be involved so that the matter can be amicably resolved, not to prevent any action from taking place, or from him being exonerated from being found guilty of any mishap or misconduct. No, it's just legally provided by our laws that in that regard you need to involve the union first. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. Kwezi, as we move swiftly through those questions, I just want to remind everyone that's in the session, there's been a lot of requests for the IR kit to be shared. That will be shared. You will definitely receive, a copy of the IR kit. If you haven't, do engage Mariki, and she will share that with you. Kwezi, over to the next question.
Yeah, so we have a question from Gary Murray. Gary is just asking, if we belong to SAPRA, are we covered on all labor aspects, or do we need to employ our own legal representatives? I'm assuming, again, in terms of disciplinary issues.
Labor, we are here. I've alluded to the fact that as long as you are a SAPRA member, it's a proud association to the RMI. There's benefits by being part of the RMI. And with that, we cover all labor aspects. You don't have to be a labor expert yourself. You don't have to even go and get your own legal representative, because you're going to pay a lot compared to what the RMI is offering in terms of what I've shared, relayed with the fees, the nominal fees that we charge for those services. So you do benefit from that. And moreover, as a SAPRA member, as a proud association to the RMI, should your matter even go to the labor court, how much are you going to pay those legal fees, getting advocates, people to go and represent you there at the labor court? It's going to be a lot of money. So you get that for free from the RMI. CCMA, DRC representation, labor court representation, including of all documentation pertaining to such processes, we handle that for free if you are a SAPRA member. Thank you.
Thanks, Dumi. And I think this is just on the same path. Question from Sean. Just to confirm, the basis for consultation with the union is encompassed in Schedule 8, subsection 4.2, which deals with dismissal. So a final written warning or any less severe sanction does not fall under the scope of Schedule 8 in his view. The only circumstances where the union should be consulted in regards to the shop steward is where a hearing is going to be initiated. Therefore, would consultation still be required, or is consultation therefore not required? Maybe you can clarify.
I'm just reading the question again quickly, just with your indulgence.
Sorry, it's Sean. If I may just clarify.
Hey, Sean, you can go.
Thank you. Yeah, so basically the sentiment is just to say that in my experience, the only time where it has been a procedural prerequisite to consult with the union when you take disciplinary action, or we are intending to take disciplinary action against a shop steward, is where a hearing is initiated, because it falls under the ambit of Schedule 8, which deals with dismissal. So when you're issuing a warning, a final written warning, or a normal reprimand, again, just my view on this is that it would be impractical to phone the union every time. Let's say, for instance, your shop steward was late. I'm not going to phone the union to discuss with them, whether the shop steward should be sanctioned with a warning because he was late. But different story if the shop steward was dishonest or was on a final written warning, and a hearing is going to be initiated. So for everyday disciplinary action, I just want clarity on that. We've been doing it as such as not consulting, when normal day-to-day discipline. But obviously, where there is a possibility of dismissal, i.e., a hearing being held, that is when consultation kicks in. I just wanted to find out what your view is on that.
Thank you so much, Sean. So in this regard, while Schedule 8 4.2, it refers to the dismissal of a shop steward or office bearer, but best practice and the spirit of code of the good practice is to consult with the union before initiating any formal disciplinary action against the shop steward. And in my view, this including a final written warning as well. So I've mentioned that it's for ensuring the peace, industrial peace as well. So this helps maintain the sound industrial relations and significantly reduces the risk of even unfair labor practices in dispute. So I would advise many employers and arbitrators to view this as a consultation in order to mitigate any risk that may come in dealing with the union, especially when it's the shop steward. The fact that they were included in prescript to say they must be consulted as a code of good practice, I hear you. Minimal things like late coming, I'm not going to call the shop steward, the union for late coming. It's something that it's there, you deal with instantly. But in terms of issues that might lead to final written warnings and dismissals, that would inquire a disciplinary session taking place, that I would advise that you do at least send communication, formal written invitations to the union to consult on those alleged misconduct, especially if they're very serious.
Okay, Sean, looks like you covered on that. Thank you very much, Tumi, for explaining that one. I think it's a very important question that was answered there. So well done. I just want to remind everyone that's here today, don't forget the reason that we do the Let's Talk series is really to bring critical stakeholders to the front, and you have firsthand an opportunity to ask important questions. So this is your chance. Exploit the opportunity that is presented to you, and do feel free to raise your hand. Kwesi, over to you for the next question.
Yeah, so we have a question from Highway Motors. A simple question: is a shop steward necessary or compulsory?
So we need to look at there's what we call organizational rights. Organizational rights are rights that are given by law to the unions. So one of the rights is a right for them to deduct for monies to be deducted for subscriptions if they choose to belong to a union. And first thing, what's important is that belonging to a union is your constitutional right. It's a constitutional right that we cannot infringe on as employers. So with that, one of the rights I've said, deductions for union fees, whatever union they want to join, and then there's right to access, which would allow unions to come in and recruit members, and then also there is a right for as soon as a union has gained majority for them to elect a shop steward. So by law, it's provided in legislation. But you don't just allow a union to come. They don't even have sufficient membership. They've got like 7 members, and you've got 200 employees, and they say out of the 7 years our shop steward. No, it doesn't work like that. So we are here as the IR expert team with the RMI to assist in such. Should you receive a letter from the union to say they want to come and consult, they claim that they have reached a majority, we are here to come and verify and assist you to ensure that everything is done correctly. You don't want a union to start taking advantage because you don't know what rights and what the law says regarding organizational rights. So to answer your question, yes, it's permitted by law for shop stewards only with certain conditions being met, which is reaching majority and the employee being elected by the employees or union members to be a shop steward.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you for that, Tumi. Kwesi, any further
Thank you,
questions
Tumi.
coming through from the chat box?
Not currently. Paul, please note, I do see your question. I have requested that Moiponi or Mariki get in touch with you so we can just take that discussion offline. But on my end, I don't see anything else.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Kwesi, for fielding the chat box. Okay, one last chance. We're doing very well with time. We're in 50 minutes. This seems to be a SAPRA trend. Short, effective, and good meetings. If there's no further questions, I'm not seeing anyone raise their hand at the moment. If there's no further questions, then I'm going to call on Henry to perhaps do the closing of the session, and then we can move on from there. Thank you. Over to Henry.
Thanks, Michelle. Thanks for everybody attending. I'd just like to reiterate what was said now is that we are an employers organization. So we're actually the opposite of a union. So the services are there. Please make use of them. You are a SAPRA member, or if you're not, please join immediately, because you've got the assistance. As you know, for retailers like myself, it's a lot of schlep to deal with unions and these letters and the meetings and whatever. So you've got the assistance here from the IR department. So please utilize them. It's really beneficial. And thanks to me, Jeff, everybody, Kwesi, for your time. Thanks for attending the meeting, and please go well.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining as well.
Cheers, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
just bye. Everyone.